Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Friday's webinar from Annika Digital. I'm host today. I'm not doing the presentation. It's actually my colleague Jayesh, who will introduce himself in a second. So as the regulars will know, as we run this every Friday, we're going to run a quick poll while we get a few more people to arrive. And then we're actually going to run this as a pre-recorded video because this is Jayesh's first time, so he's a webinar newbie, and he'll be answering questions while the videos actually run. Hello, good morning, Nigel. Nice to see you. So let's quickly run the first poll while we get a few more people actually logging on. So I'm going to start polling now, and for the benefit of the video, I will actually read the results out so that you guys can hear it when we watch the video later. So have you heard of any of the following ideas or concepts? And this is around the subject of how to use marketing psychology and user bias theory to enhance the performance of your website, which is the subject that we're going to talk about today. So have you heard of personality types and their impact on behaviour? Different personality tests such as the Myers-Briggs, the reptilian brain and how it impacts behaviour, cognitive or user biases and the impact on decision making and behaviour, the concept of marketing psychology, the process or technique of conversion rate optimization. Hopefully a lot of you have heard of that because we have presented on that before. And then finally, the combination of using marketing psychology on website design and CRO. So we've got quite an informed audience today, you'll be pleased to hear. It looks around like about 20% of you have heard of quite a few of these terms. So, when you talk about personality types, we've got 20%. Less of you have heard of the reptilian brain, about sort of 10%. Cognitive biases, 13%. Marketing psychology, interesting, marketing psychology is actually higher, and yet it actually contains those elements. So that's really interesting. So the term marketing psychology is perhaps the one that most people know. A similar number of people have heard of conversion rate optimization, and only 10% of the people have heard of the concept of using marketing psychology on website design and CRO. So you've got a reasonably new audience today, Jess. So hopefully the slides have been pitched at the right level. So I think what we'll do is we'll turn the video off now, and we'll dive into hit go on the presentation. If you guys can let us know whether you can hear it or not once we turn the camera off, and then we'll be stalking around in the background, and we'll come back online in a while. So if you want to turn your camera off, Jay, and your video off, that would be great. And let's hit go.
Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar. My name is Jayesh Mistry, and I'm going to go through how to use marketing psychology and user bias theory to enhance the performance of your website. So a bit about me. I've been working in marketing for 3 years. Out of them 3 years, 2 years I've been a paid advertising specialist. I've been at Annika Digital for 4 months now, and I've set up and I've run multiple ad campaigns across various sectors, and I'm fascinated by human behavior, and I love asking the question why and how. Like, why do we behave in a certain way, and how did that come by? And I like, once I get those answers, I then again ask, okay, why and how, until I get this big picture of how do we get here in like this in this broad kind of aspect of our kind of the human history, and where we're possibly going to. I think that's really interesting, and I'd love to share that knowledge with you. So these are some of the examples of brands that we work with. And so today in this webinar, I'm going to go over the following, which is why is conversion rate optimization important, the brain and your behavior, how personality types influence persuasion, the 25 cognitive biases and the use of these cognitive biases, how to measure persuasion, and using this data for your CRO. So what are we going to achieve at the end of this presentation? Well, we're going to achieve a way of measuring persuasion and the impact of marketing psychology on your website performance. And also, we're going to be taking away some of that guesswork for when you generate ideas and hypotheses for testing website improvements, i.e. CRO, conversion rate optimization. So why is conversion rate optimization so important? And why is it important that your website works for you? So it only takes 2.62 seconds to make a first impression. So factors like speed and design can have a massive impact on users remaining on your site. Around half of website users leave immediately, i.e. they bounce. Therefore, you can lose people very quickly. So you need to provide a great user experience to keep the users happy, engaged, and returning to your website. And finally, you need to ensure that your site achieves your business objectives, for example, generating more business leads and sales, etc. What is conversion rate optimization? Well, a conversion rate optimization is the systematic process of increasing the proportion of website visitors who take your desired action on your website. For example, they can be inquiries, sales, or other activities. So what are the steps used in conversion rate optimization? So number one, you carry out a comprehensive analysis of your current situation using a range of tools and methodologies. Then you use this data to develop a hypothesis of how your site could be improved. Then you test that hypothesis by split testing, A/B testing, and finally, once you have statistically significant results, then you can implement small incremental improvements to your website and get more of those sales and the conversions that you want. So how do you make your website more persuasive? To be more persuasive and increase the conversion rate of your website, you need to be aware of the brain and its impact on psychology, and deeper into that is the personality types and 25 cognitive or user biases. And if you understand the psychology of your target audience, you can also make improvements that will appeal to that segment. This is known as marketing psychology. So CRO plus the marketing psychology is where the magic happens. So this standard CRO process is very focused on analytical results, data, looking at conversion rates, the use of monitoring tools like Hotjar. The approach I'm going to use today looks more at the psychology of why users behave on sites and the things that will trigger their bells. Therefore, my presentation is about the impact of marketing psychology on a website. So who's saying what about marketing psychology? There's lots of blogs out there that's got great content about and great information about marketing psychology. It's really interesting and applicable. Every time I go onto these websites, I do the same thing where I ask how and why, and try to dig deeper, and they all kind of come into one thing. Well, I get pointed to this one thing, and that's the brain. So we need to know more about the brain in order to to understand marketing psychology. So the brain and our behavior. So the brain consists of a prefrontal cortex. This is not the entire brain, but your brain has a prefrontal cortex where logical decisions are made, and you have the reptilian brain. So thousands of millions of years old and has adapted for one thing or two things, which is survival and reproduction. One adaptation happens over 10,000 years and only in a constant environment. And we haven't adapted for these surroundings because we're not in a constant environment, because we want to improve on everything. An iPhone comes out every year. It just like everything changes, everything around changes, and kind of gets a bit more efficient, gets a bit easier. And unless if somebody wants to now, if somebody wants to adapt, they'll have to kind of be in that same environment for 10,000 years and like generationally for 10,000 years to for an adaptation to happen. So yeah, that's not going to happen. So and this is the reason why we keep making irrational decisions, like we keep eating unhealthy food, we stay in abusive relationships, we max out on credit cards. That's because the reptilian brain is pulling the strings. So we clearly don't have as much control as we think. And it's like, how can you appeal from a business perspective? How can you appeal to your customers' instincts to give them value? Also, how user biases influence decision making and actions, how personality types impacts behavior, and how can you make your website and marketing more persuasive by understanding marketing psychology. How personality types influence persuasion. Why do you need to know about personality types? You need to appeal to the majority of personality types in your target market. And so you don't want to alienate a certain percentage of the market, because then, that's potential sales that you could be getting. So, we need to understand the different personality types and how can you appeal to all of your audience's different personality types. So there's quite a few personality tests out there. You have Hexaco, you have Myers-Briggs, you have the 300 question personality test, and these are really good. Out of here, you get different. You get a lot of different personality types coming out from here, and they're very good. However, I've found one that is quite easy. And I shall be showing you. It's called the PASE system. And PASE stands for practical, action, social, and emotional. And these are all personality types. And so everyone has these personality types, but at different levels. And some may be more often than not, some may be have like a majority, like of a stronger personality type. So somebody may have more practical energy, more action energy, more social energy, or a combination of stronger ones. So let's go into it. So the practical personality type would be people who are down to earth. They're slower speaking, they're softer speaking, they're logical, they're the maths types. They don't like change. They love to plan, they're quite frugal, and they want to know every single detail of something that they're going to purchase. So whatever they're going to purchase, they want to know every single detail for that price to be justified. If that price isn't justified, or isn't giving the value that price warrants, they won't make a purchase. But also if they do make that, if they do find value in that and that price point, and the details match that value, they will make that purchase. So that's practical people. And you've got action people who are fast paced, they're energetic, they like to make things happen, they're a little aggressive, they have lots of urgency, they're good at starting things, but not good at finishing things, and they worry about the consequences later. They have verbal cues but if you want to kind of appeal to action people, you want to have certain verbal cues like boom, let's go, and and stuff like that. That really can help them, get them going. That kind of intensity, that kind of delivery, that kind of energy. They're not as frugal as practical people. So, for example, there could be, let's just say, there's a product that is between. There's this one product that is valued between £700 to £1,500. Sorry, yeah, 1,500. And they won't mind spending £1,000 if they think it's worth that £1,000 in that moment. They will spend that money. They'll have that urgency to go for it, as opposed to the practical personality types who will look at that product, and if that detail is worth £700, they won't pay a penny over £700. So that's the action people. Social people. So the social personality type. These are people who like to socialize for no reason. They love socializing. They like people. They like meeting people. They like to talk. They like to talk to everyone, even if they don't meet them again. They enjoy small talk as well. And so if you're in a sales situation, or if you're in a situation that you want to appeal to people who you think that have this kind of high level of social personality, then a good way is to almost identify something in them. So it could be whatever, just create some small talk about that kind of stuff, and then kind of come in with like a pitch or something like that. So it's all about establishing that relationship first. So that's the social personality type. And finally, the emotional personality type, which is are people who are a little sensitive. They're intuitive, and if you're in a situation where you're trying to persuade or kind of appeal to an emotional personality type, certain verbal cues, like a good word to use, feel. How do you feel about that? And talk about the end goal. Talk about the end goal in the terms of a feeling, as opposed to some kind of numerical advantage or something like that. They're fearful, and they're afraid to be ripped off. And that's emotional people. So yeah, everyone has this in different levels, and it's just a really easy way of kind of almost giving a personality profile to your audience. So you can use the PASE system to target your market. So, for example, let's just say this is your market. This is your audience that you're trying to sell to, and 25% of them are practical, 25% action, 25 social, 25 emotional. And if you want to make sure that all of you you want to make sure that your communication, your marketing, is in a way appeals to all of these personality types almost equally, because if you kind of neglect one, like for example, if you neglect the practical people, and you don't have enough detail in there, and you don't have enough things that appeal to them, that's a huge chunk of potential revenue that you're going to be losing out. So it's important to kind of know who your audience is and cater to these different personality types, just to get as many people interested in your brand and your product as much as you can. Of course, different industries have different types of percentages, and so some industries might be mostly people who are action orientated, or you'll have people who are mostly practical orientated, and that's when you kind of almost change visually your website to appeal to them, but at the same time keeping in mind that there are other people within that market that can get value from your product. So why use the PASE system in marketing? So we need to understand and present the website design and content in a way that suits the personality type of the target audience. When we're designing a website, we need to understand what the dominant personalities are so that the information is either presented specifically for them or so other personality types can still get that access. And we need to understand these personality types. Understanding these personality types will allow you to modify the design and the type of the content that you produce to ensure that different types of people get the information that they need and the way that they want, which is the most important thing. The information that obviously they need, but the way that they want, because this is the things that makes it different. And finally, this approach ensures that we don't ignore a section of our market and that we could have done business with. 25 cognitive biases, 25 cognitive biases or user biases. So the 25 cognitive biases are 25 tools or ways which people make decisions. And the more, because these are tools, so these are tools of persuasion. So more of these tools that you have, more of these cognitive biases that you have, the potentially more persuasive you can be, which is really good, because this is a comprehensive list, and you have your ammo over here, and you can use it in different ways. So this is the fun bit. So these are the 25 cognitive biases. This is just what they are and the description. I'm not going to go through all of them because it'll take a lot of time, but it's all there for you. But what I will be doing, I'll be showing the uses of some of these cognitive biases and the following examples. So one of them is called a reward and punishment super response tendency. And this is about how self-interest and rewards drive behavior. So with your product is either the reward, or your services is the end goal of what they want to, what your customers want. So you want to put that right in front of them, because that's a huge that's a huge cue for them to go, yes, that's what I want, let's go for it, because that's what they came for. At the end of the day, that's what they came for. And this is one of the most powerful cognitive biases in that 25. So for example, over here we've got how Amazon Prime, they've got their license to show Premier League games. So you have the top players here. You see that one's the best one, and then obviously you have this vegan food over here, and you have all these goodies, and these goodies, these snacks are right in front of you. You know what you're getting. It's just not text. It's the reward is what you want. It's almost the end goal. It's the product, and you want that. You wish you had it here, and so that's the reward right in front of them. YouTube, brilliant. What's the best thing about YouTube? The videos. And so what do YouTube do? They put videos right in front of your face, just loads of them, and then 2 hours later you're still on YouTube, and you're in desperate need for some oxygen and a walk. But all these companies, they're aware of this, and it's time for us to be aware of this for sure. Another one is reciprocation tendency. This is humans reciprocate both favors and disfavors. So here, like an example is Netflix, free trial for 30 days. Amazon Prime, free trial, 30-day free trial. You get these graze boxes that come in the post, and you're like, wow, this is free food, and free food's always the best thing ever. And so you feel that they've done something for you, so you want to almost do something for them. It's a very strong type of psychological bias that they're using, and I think a lot of companies are doing this, as you can see. And it's something that I think you guys should, you guys are probably doing it anyway. It's something definitely to consider. You have this like protein powder that comes through like the post, and you have a free sample bags. And so they're really good. They're very effective. Contrast misreaction tendency. This is really important this works really well for the practical people, looking for detail and numbers. And the really simple one is kind of over here at the bottom, where you have a price, and then you have another price which is more. You have a bigger price, but it's crossed out. Before I kind of go into the example, so we tend to think in terms of relative contrast rather than absolute numbers. Like we need some kind of context there, so you see on multiple e-commerce websites, if not all of them, especially on Amazon, where you have the original price, which is slashed, which is higher, and then you have this lower price. So you're like, oh wow, I should get this, And it's a very important, it's a very good tool. It's a very powerful tool. You see this a lot on Black Friday, and they've been catching us out for a long time on Black Friday. So you see, like for example, there'll be a hat which was £30, but it's crossed out, and that £30 crossed out, and hey, look, it's £15. Wow, that's pretty cool. And so you're like, let's go for it. But pre Black Friday, it would be like, actually, £7, so you're actually paying more, which is it's very clever, and it doesn't look like there's any kind of legislation on it, so just go crazy, not too crazy. These contrast tables up here work really, really well, just to kind of give you more information of what can you get, the possibilities out here, and all these pricing, all these different price points. They're really good. This is a reason why the comparison websites are so good, because they're using the contrast misreaction tendency. Social proof tendency. Everybody knows what social proof is. It's everywhere, and everyone should have it. And that could be just like having like a logo, like a 5 stars out of 5 Trustpilot or Google reviews, and this is probably one of the most important cognitive biases, because we are socially wired. A lot of our behavior is based on kind of social reasons and maybe what other people think, So this is very deeply embedded into us, and it's important that you get these kind of social signals and social proof, these reviews onto your website. Obviously, you see Amazon doing this really well. Like, I can't remember the last time I bought something on Amazon and I didn't go to the reviews. And I can't remember the last time where, or there's countless times where, you go to Amazon and you're not sure. You look at the reviews are really good, and you're like, I'm going for that one. So they're really important. And Amazon's website is littered with social proof. It's everywhere. Every time you scroll anywhere, it's there, because they know all about this. So this is a good one. Influence are from mere association tendency. The qualities of one item transfer to another simply when it's placed in proximity. So this is like, these are the celebrity endorsements. So you have, Anton Deck with Santander, love that. You have the Premier League, the badge itself, but the players, on the Amazon Prime over there. You have Beyonce with Pepsi. You have Anthony Joshua with, this is his Lucozade endorsement. By the way, these two are really healthy people, like really healthy people. But what they're endorsing has loads of sugar in it, like loads. So these companies, Lucozade and Pepsi, they know what they're doing. So influence and mere association is really, really powerful. So there are some of the examples, and now how to measure persuasion. So let's look at the methodology. So we can use the PASE and cognitive biases to measure the persuasiveness of a website or other marketing assets. And we do this in 3 ways. So we do this, number one, by we take key elements of the design and content. We grade from 1 to 10, 1 out of 10 for a personality rating. And then we identify the accidental or deliberate presence of the cognitive biases within these elements. So this is an example that I've done, and it's for Aweber, which is an email automation tool. And yeah, let's get into it. This is how we rate websites from a psychological standpoint. So this is the section 1 of the website. This is the header. So when you come on, this is what you see. So let's look at the cognitive biases. You have reward there. So reward is it's really good. In this case, it's really good. It's right in front of your face, where it's you go on the website and it's run your business, leave the email marketing to us. So that's a reward in itself. And then also you have these images over here of the kind of what you're going to get as part of this service. So the reward is there, which is great and is really important, and it's visible. You have a reciprocation, so get Aweber free, which is good. You have it just right here and here on these call to actions. And so once you get it, you're into their kind of ecosystem, you're into their world, and you feel like you want to give them some kind of value by staying. And then you have availability. So availability is that cognitive biases. Your brain works with whatever's available to you. Whatever's there, that's what your brain engages with, because it's there, and it doesn't have to like fish for things and go through things. So yeah, you do have, in order to get this product, it's kind of readily available. So you have these call to actions: get Aweber free at the top, and then you have this kind of chat bot just ready there. And availability is associated a lot with call to actions and action in general. And so let's give these cognitive biases and this overall section, this header, a PASE rating. So practical, 4 out of 10. There's not much information there. That kind of, there's just not much information to persuade at this point, to persuade those people who are more practical, have a practical kind of personality. So that's quite low in the so that's like a 4 out of 10. We have action, which is very strong. Like, you've got the call to action, get Aweber free, you've got it at the top. You've got run your business and leave the email marketing to us. So even words like run your business, it's a verb, it's an action. So it is action orientated. Social, there's nothing really there to appeal to people who have a social personality. There's nothing really. There's no people there. There's not really any social proof or anything like that. Emotional, that's a 6 out of 10, because there is some kind of emotional aspects to this. Emotional people don't like getting ripped off. So get Aweber free. Emotional reciprocation kind of link into each other. So it is there, it is present. And that's why I give it a 6 out of 10. Let's go into section 2. So the cognitive biases in section 2 of this website, when we scroll down, is the reward is there. You have this mission, this deliver powerfully simple email marketing for small businesses. And then so yeah, that's right. That's very visible in big kind of bold letters. And underneath you have like another form of reward as well. There's the smart designer, it's drag and drop email landing page designer. You have these other features, so that's a reward as well. Reciprocation, we have that in the form of the call to action right at the top, which is get Aweber free. Availability, there's a lot of kind of things that are available to you. So you've got an extra you have an extra call to action, which is this one, this sign up form. But then you also have this create your template, and then obviously the get AWeber free, that's also available. And also, you have these kind of features and pricing. These stuff are, inside they're not massively, the menu's not massively like noticeable, but it does the job. And then also you have this create, deliver, grow, these buttons that you can press to get more information. And then we've got a new cognitive bias called reason. So reason respective tendency is you work and you learn better when you're given correct reasons for why to do something. And this is like this really works well for practical people. So in these kind of features that you're getting more information. You're getting a AI powered design assistant that blah 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 blah. There's just more information, which is great for practical people. That's why in the PASE rating, that's why this practical energy there's more practical energy on here as opposed to the other one where there wasn't much information. It's very action orientated. You've got 3 call to actions right there. You have don't really have any social energy. There's not many people. Again, there's not many people there. There's nothing really to work with for these people who like people. And there's the emotional kind of energy has kind of gone down as well, because you just got that get AWeber free just at the top, and that's about it really. There's no kind of authority signals to show that they're trusted or anything like that, so it just remains on the 5 out of 10, a lower score. Section 3 of the website. So the cognitive biases are, as we've previously seen, reward, which is right in front of you. You have reciprocation, free, availability, call to action, and that chat bar over there. Practical, there's not much information, 3 out of 10. Action, 8 out of 10, because you got a call to action. You have the call to action at the top as well, and then you also have these complete account migration, fast, and 100% free, which suits the urgency of somebody who has this action personality. Also, when you kind of look here, you got people doing things. So you have action. You have this lady who's typing something, and you have this guy who's doing the cool dude pointy finger hands. So there is action energy there. There is a bit of social energy, because social people like people, and so even if you see people, even if you have on your website you have pictures of people, you're gonna that is good. That's going to appeal to social people, because they're going to see people, and you've got 3 people right here. So that's a 6 out of 10, more than the last one, which was a 2. And then finally you got emotional, and the reason why it's a bit higher it's the highest it's ever been, is because there's that 100% free there, and obviously you have the bit at the top. So that's the 7 out of 10. Let's go to section 4. So cognitive biases, you have the reward, which is right in front of you. You have the reciprocation, get AWeber free. You have availability, or the call to actions right there. You have some information there. You have the chatbot there. And we've got a new cognitive bias, which is social proof. And that's that's the review right here. That is the review. You have the name of the review. You have the kind of the where this person is from as well. So you have social proof, and also you have this person over there, the person who gave this review. So let's give this a PASE rating. So practical energy, let's say practical is around 6 out of 10. You have practical people like numbers. So you have for 20 years, AWeber has helped over 1 million small businesses grow faster. Even some numbers definitely boosts up the practical score, but imagine if you had even more numbers than that. That would really appeal to the practical people. let's see, action. There's a lot of action here. You have this man over here, I guess it's Mark, who is doing some form of action. He looks very happy and mesmerized. And then obviously you have the call to actions associated with that as well. Social proof is pretty high in social proof. That you have number one, you have the person there, so a social person is going to look at that and be like, yes, I identify with that. I like what I see. And then also you're getting the review as well, which is great. Emotional, you're getting a review from a user, so that builds trust as well. So, and also you can actually see the person, which is great as well. So that's a 7 out of 10. Let's go to section 5. So the cognitive biases, you have reward, which is it's in front of you. You got 24/7 support. You have reciprocation, try for free. You have availability, the same call to actions there. The PASE rating is practical 6 because you've got some more information. You've got extra information. Action is contact customer. So in this call to action, contact customer solution. And that's number one, that's a call to action, and you have a verb there, contact customer solution, and then you have the other call to actions there. So it is action orientated. You have social, which is kind of this similar to contact the customer solution. So you're going to be, well, ideally you're going to be contacting a human being, maybe not, but you may be contacting. You may be talking to a human, and it'll be given that impression that you are. So it does have social energy, and also there's these robots that have human features. You can't take away from that, but it's a little bit there. And finally, emotional, which is 7 out of 10. There's nothing really extra in terms of emotion. It's just that the word free is bigger. It's in your face, and it's like there's no risk associated with this, and that's what we're really rating. We're rating on the visibility of this kind of cognitive bias. In this case, it will be reciprocation. And finally, section 6, the footer. You can't really it's a weird one, this one, but you can't really have as many cognitive biases in there that are working really well. So you have reciprocation, which is these webinars and tutorials. You have availability. You can write whatever you want in the search bar and try to get some kind of information that will be available to you. And you have social proof. It's not massive. You have these little social icons. And the PASE rating goes as follows, which is the footer is always quite a practical thing because it's the skeleton of your website. And if you want to go, there's a practical person who wants specific pieces of information, you can go there and you kind of know where to go through, as opposed to just scrolling down and waiting for it. So there is practical information. There's a practical kind of energy, personality there. Action, you have this search Aweber, contact us. It's not massively visible, nor is social quite visible, because you got these small icons that don't really, social icons of Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, they don't really reveal much in terms of numbers or anything like that. But it is something, and there's not really much emotional energy. So that is how we rate it. And here's a summary of the cognitive biases by section. So throughout the website, you have a whole bunch of reward, which is important, which is powerful. You have a whole bunch of reciprocation, which is, again, a very good tool, especially for like emotional people. You have availability as well. You have a lot of that. Just they're focused on having that action right there in front of you, so you can press it. So there is a lot of availability there. Reason, we only found a little bit of reason on the section 2, and so this doesn't work well for practical people. at all, really. So that needs to improve. Social proof, there wasn't much social proof as well, only really present on 2 sections, and it was not really present in like an amazing way. And then there was consistency, and this is one by default. Most websites are consistent. Of course, you need to be consistent, because if you don't, you kind of lose their trust, and so it's got that one by default. So this is how you calculate your persuasion score. So I've written the cognitive biases here, and we've got 6 different cognitive biases, and these are the ratings that we gave it on each section. Now, it's really good to look at it this way, where you can see where you're lacking, what kind of personality types you're kind of lacking in, and you don't want low consecutive scores. And a low consecutive score is anything below 7. Anything below 7 is too low, but you don't want it consecutive. So, for example, over here, in the first section, second section, there wasn't much social proof, so there's opportunities there to improve. And it doesn't have to be like everything's got to be all 9s, everything's got to be 8s, but it's okay if it's all right. This social was 2 at section 1, but then it was an 8 at section 2, because normally you go to a website, you're going to scroll down. You're just going to do that. And so when you go down, if you are a social person, if that's your main strong personality type, then you scroll down and boom, you've got something that appeals to you. Therefore, you stay on that website for longer. And that could be in the form of reviews. It can be in the form of people, and they could be in the form of a video, people talking on that video. So yeah, that's the key takeaway from this bit, that it's got to be, it's like all these different personality types, they have to be more kind of spread out. Like the strength of it needs to be more spread out. So, as you scroll down, you're getting something that you can, like, you're getting something that appeals to you. So that's what's most important. So we can see just by this table that it's very weak in practical energy, it's very weak in social energy as well, and emotional energy. Really, anything below 7 is not really that persuasive. So there's plenty of ways to improve this, and this is be part of the whole CRO process. And so the overall persuasion score is 59%, and it's important how you have these numbers, and it's important that you do this for your website, but then you also do this for your local competitors, but also like big dogs of the industry as well, just to see where you are, do a gap analysis, and be like, okay, we can be more persuasive by putting this in. Let's try to shorten that gap and be way more persuasive than them. So it's a pretty cool tool. So we've got this data, and let's use this for our CRO, for your CRO. So let's see, we need to, so adapting the conversion rate optimization process. So we've added the whole personality and the psychology aspect to the CRO process. So when you're going through this process, you're going to, and regardless, when you do have an online business, or you have a business that also kind of has a website, and you operate online, you're going to measure and track your web activity, and then you're going to make changes, and you're going to compare. So you're just going to do that anyway, and it's important to do that as like a benchmark. You're going to conduct your research, which is the PASE rating, and identifying the cognitive biases. That's something that we did in this example, and we found out that this website is this web page rather is lacking in practical, social, and emotional personality, and that's a lot of personality types that you're lacking in, and that's a lot of potential customers that you could be losing out on. So that's kind of been identified. Also, the cognitive biases, it could do with more cognitive biases. Amazon, which is the greatest e-commerce website ever, at any given time during wherever you're scrolling on that website, wherever, you've got around 11 to 12 cognitive biases happening. Like, just them tools are at you. They're using them tools at you. And so that's quite interesting, because we've only got like 6 here and not using it that well, but we're going to change that. So this is when it comes to plan and design. So you prioritize your hypothesis and according to the potential impact and changes may have. So practical, we could do with more contrast tables and more technical detail, so that will get your practical rating up. And so we've got contrast misreaction. That's another cognitive bias in there. Social, so you've got more social. We need to get more social proof. You need to put more social proof in there. So put customer reviews, ratings. You can also put things like videos, images of people using that product, or just images of people in general. That would really boost that social appeal to the social people. And emotional, which is something that we're lacking in. And so what we can do with emotional is, of course, put customer reviews in there, because they build trust, but also having authority signals and associations, putting their badges on there. So if you're a member of some kind of awarding body or some kind of organization, for example, you see a lot of websites that sell these holiday packages, that you see the ABTA, the ABTA logo there, ABTA protected, and which is a trust signal. So the people who don't want to get ripped off, the more emotional personality types, will look at that, and that will be instrumental in convincing them to go explore more, and find out more, and get a lovely holiday. And so we've got this so we've got these elements, we've got these cognitive biases that we want to apply. So what we're going to do, we're going to test them, and we're going to find the feedback of them. Once we get that feedback, we're going to analyze it. We're going to analyze the feedback and find the results. See, once you get statistical significance, you make the change, and you've got the data to back it, and then your website is improving that step closer of getting to the goals that you want to get, and the percentage of the market that you want to have. So that's the process. During this, you can still use heat maps and other tools to track on-site behavior. And so, conclusion. So we know that it only takes 2.62 seconds to make a first impression. So you need to ensure that the different types of people within your target audience get the information they need from your marketing in a way they want, which is really important. Understanding the PASE system and the different personality types of our target audience will allow you to modify and design content so it's more persuasive and effective, i.e. the marketing psychology, to using marketing psychology to increase conversion rates. We can use some of the 25 cognitive biases as a tool to persuade people to take action. We can use the PACE system and the 25 cognitive biases to measure the persuasion on the website, which is the fun bit. And finally, we then need to use this data to form a hypothesis on how to improve a site, so we can test it and make the changes that we need to get more leads, get more sales, because that's what we want to smash it. That's what we do. Thank you very much for listening to this webinar. This is the first time I've done this, and so yeah, thanks for listening. And if you have any questions, please fire away. Go for it. Thank you.
If you'd like to come back on and turn your mic on, Jay, we can ask a few questions and things. I've got a couple of final slides to show. There's some really good conversations going on in the chat. Somebody was asking about the source of the PASE PASE system, but I think although you stole the PASE, the actual scoring measurement system, that's your own work, isn't it? That's your own approach.
Yeah.
The actual measurement system. So this is something that you invented yourself. So you've got to take. So really, Jayesh has got to take the credit for it. We did have a couple of comments in the questions. So Ismay was asking about the fact that when they were redesigning the website, perhaps they were redesigning it with their own biases in mind. I thought that was a really interesting question, and whether whether you are likely to, if you're the hippo or the person who's paid the most in the room, and you say no, I want to do it like that, you can often be doing that based on your own biases rather than actually what your customers want. So I don't know whether you wanted to comment on that.
Yeah, that's interesting. With the biases, it's so the biases are like related to the brain, and so yeah, they're related to the brain, and it's something that's instinctual within us. However, the use and the effect of that bias really depends on the personality type. So the personality type is a thing that makes us different. So you can use them cognitive biases in kind of different ways.
It's almost in combination, isn't it? Because if you think you've got 25 cognitive biases and you've got a minimum of 4 personality types, and if you use Myers-Briggs, you've got 16 personality types. So if you multiply that out, that's a huge amount. One thing you didn't mention was how you understand, at the beginning, you didn't really mention about how you understand the personality profile of your existing audience. I mean, can you do that through things like surveys? The heat maps that you just showed, does that give an indication of what they click on, and maybe a sort of an indication of their personality types, or their sort of what their biases are already, so that you can then adjust the design to match your audience? Because if you're getting your audience to the site, you can see the people that are behaving on the site using analytics, for example, but then how do you sort of understand a little bit more about them?
Yeah, it's good to get as much information as you can in regards to the behavior of your audience, and then if it's interesting if their habits and if their behavior is, if you're looking at things like heat maps as well, if you're looking at that and those kind of behaviors result in certain actions that they do, then it's a case of, okay, this is what we need more of. This is what they want. This is what they're looking for. Let's push it up. Let's magnify this.
Okay, I'm just going to bring a couple of things up. I don't know if there's any more questions. I've just realised that the title of my slide is wrong, so I need to sort this out. But next week I'm going to be talking on what we've learned from running all our free weekly webinars for the last 10 months. The first thing I need to say is make sure you check your slides before you publish them at 8 o'clock in the morning, because I didn't notice this when I uploaded it. So I'm really annoyed at myself for getting that wrong. So we'll send out an email on Monday to invite you guys onto that. I will be doing a bit of a summary with regards to actually how to set the webinars up, what the best marketing methods are, things like what topics were really popular, and basically, what the data showed with regards to, so all this bit here is correct, with regards to things like the relative numbers of registrations and attendees, just how many people have actually, I think we've had over 700 people individuals actually watch our webinars during that time. Also, I wanted to just bring up an offer to talk to you about the conference. So the conference is on the 16th of February. And we've got 2 streams. We've got the main Leicester Digital Live, which is our normal conference. Last year it was at the Haymarket, which is the stage you can see here. There's 10 sessions with guest speakers. You can see some of the speakers on the right. There's some amazing speakers. we sort of handpicked the speakers based on quite a lot of my colleagues in the industry, some of the great pieces of software that we use. So things like Optimizer, Yoast, SEMrush, SimilarWeb, they're all going to be there. And then in addition to that, we've got the second stream running in parallel, which is Ask Annika stream, which is basically the team from Annika. And we're going to be doing introduction sessions. So if you've got any new staff, or there's an area that you're not very sure about, so for example, if you work in PPC and you want an introduction to content marketing or SEO, then there's one for you. And if you click through to the agenda, which I've got the link there, you will be able to basically see them side by side, and able to sign up to both. So we are expecting people to flip from one stream to the other. So if you are interested to sign up to the Leicester Digital Live, then let me just put that up. And if you want to click straight through, you can. So if you click on the link that's there now, you will be able to go through and take advantage of the free tickets. We are donating. If anybody wants to donate, there's a charity donation. That's completely up to you. If you don't want to donate for charity, or you're finding it a bit tough at the moment, which I know a lot of people are, then you can just click the link underneath. So please do that. And then for anybody that's new to the Annika webinars and the things that we do also have free access to our academy. So if any of you are interested in free access to the Annika Academy, most of our presentations and slides are on there. We are updating it at the moment. All the videos that we're currently doing are being updated. And also you'll notice on the website we've changed the resource section so you can update us. So we're gradually updating all the videos there as well. So I think that's probably all for us, unless there's anybody got any more questions. There's a few more coming to the chat. Lots of people saying that they found it really interesting. I think you did an amazing job, very well spoken, and it's great to have one of our new staff sort of do their first webinar, because what that means is that we can recruit them again later on in the year. But brilliant job, and thank you very much everybody for joining us, and we'll get you the video over later on. Thanks a lot and have a great Friday. Thank you very much again, Jay. Great job.
Thank you very much. Glad you guys. See you. Thanks. Bye.